Hey guys, welcome back. I'm back again once more with dinosaurs, and hopefully this will be the last time I'm going to update this deck for a long while because I guess you can say this is an emergency update. The deck I had it before, it was really good, really powerful, but the problem was it still had some issues defeating Goukis. So I had to go back and readjust the deck a little bit, and I finally figured out what my problem was. And I had too many monsters. So I bumped things down a little bit and changed some of my ratios, and now it feels more correct. And now you have a much higher chance of being able to beat Goukis by clearing out their board before they even get a chance to fill up their board. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this, and I'll show you all the new card ratios that I decided to put in, and yeah, let's get started. Okay, so of course, as I mentioned in the last video, you gotta play 3 copies of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, literally the best monster in this entire deck, and one of the best boss monsters ever. He's basically Book of Eclipse when you pop a monster from your hand or on the field and flip all your opponent's monsters face down. And he can attack all monsters, and any monsters that were in defense mode get sent to the graveyard, and also you inflict 1,000 points of damage. So really amazing card. Definitely recommended at 3. Next up we got Triple Soul Eating Oviraptor. Badass guy. He's basically Rhoda and Foolish Burial. You can literally search out Conductor Tyranno, Doggeron, or you can pitch your Overtex Quantless to the grave just to get a free evolution pill. So yeah, definitely run Oviraptor 3, no exceptions. I'm just glad they never hit this monster at all. I've seen some of the new deck profiles that run this only at 1. I still prefer to run it at 2, which is Overtex Quantless, solely because he recycles everything if you summon him correctly by shuffling back 5 dinosaurs from your banish zone back to your main monster zone. Plus, it's a free spell or trap negate, so that's why I still prefer to play Quantless at 2. But so you definitely don't want to open up with this card. You actually want to pitch it more and then eventually draw into a second one, or summon it through the effect of the evolution pill. But yeah, Quantless, yeah. And also just note that you can't use an effect that requires cost because it doesn't count as sending Quantless to the grave by an effect. So like cards like Twin Twisters or Charge of the Library will not work for Quantless. However, I did find that when I went up against my friend who runs Goukis, he used Topologic Gumblar Dragon. I was able to trigger off Quantless's effect because that effect does not cost. It just forces me to pitch 2 cards. So yeah, Quantless is actually kind of risky against Gouki players because like if they decide to use that effect, they don't know if Quantless is in my hand, and I'll still get an evolution pill later. So moving on, we got 2 babies. 3 got too bricky at times, so I just bumped it down to 2. But sometimes when I do open up with it and one of the new cards that I have, which I'll show you later, it really works out, especially like if you're forced to go first. This deck still likes to go second, but I readjusted it to where you can go first and you can still like dish out some punishment to your opponent. And of course, for the last of our dinosaurs, we got 1 Giant Rex, 1 Miscellaneousaurus, which counts as a hand trap on its own. But Giant Rex is great because once per turn when it's banished, you can special summon it from the banish zone. And yeah, it's just like a free summon whenever you banish it once per turn. And Miscellaneousaurus, if it was at 3, I swear, at least or maybe at 2, he'd be so perfect because he's like one of the best hand traps for this deck. And definitely, like, I could definitely run him more in options with him. But since he's still at 1, I can only run it at 1. Come on, Gunami, give us back Miscellaneousaurus at least at 2. Alright, so we're still running Kaijus, of course. 1 Gamma Seal, 1 Kumungus, and 1 Doggeron. This is going to be one of your best ways to take out the Gouki board. Because, like, literally, if you break their co-linking board to the point where, like, especially their Nightmare monsters can't protect anything, they're just sitting ducks. But keep in mind, and this got me, actually, because I didn't think my opponent was going to let me keep it. He got me with Ibli. Ibli is the only card that's going to stop you because you can't Kaiju while Ibli's on your side of the field. But if you can manage to still be able to get rid of it somehow, then you got to get rid of it. Like Dark Hole or Kaiju Slumber will definitely work to get rid of that Ibli. But again, that's why I decided to run a new card to help me board wipe faster and get rid of that Ibli in case if he forces it on my side of the field. So definitely still run the Kaijus. And luckily a friend of mine was able to trade me a Kumungus as well. So I'm really happy with that. So thank you, man. So moving on, we got moving on to our remaining hand traps. We got, of course, Triple Draw. Literally the best hand trap of this entire format. Because like I noticed that it really hurt Goukis. Normally I never would have done this, but My friend, when I was playing against him with his Goukis, he rode for Aqua Dolphin, and since Joel was the only hand trap I had in the hand, I decided just to go for it, and it really did hurt his turn a little bit. But it didn't stop him entirely, but it was still good enough to just to keep him from filling up his board entirely. So, but yeah, Joel Lockberry really hurts Goukis. It hurts Sky Striker, Trickstar. I haven't really dealt with any Ultra players like at all, so I really don't know how well it would work against them. But if anyone knows, let me know in the comments. Of course, we got our 2 Ash and our 2 Reapers, because you want to be able to destroy like all the meta decks of this format. And honestly, like Dinosaurs is one of the best rogue anti-meta based decks. Even though it's still technically rogue status meta, I still like to call it considered an anti-meta based deck. And the fact that it's also pretty low budgeted, I definitely recommend Dinosaurs for those who are just like not looking to invest too much money, like spend like a whole, like hundreds of dollars on like Trickstar, Sky Striker. Like Dinosaurs, like as long as you get the hand traps, you're set. Dinosaurs are not that expensive at all, so definitely pick up on Dinosaurs if you want to get into them. Alright, so that's it for our monsters. And if y'all notice, I don't run Jurek Alo or Tyranno Infinity. I felt like they were a little too clunky. I still run Jurek Alo on the side, but I took off Tyranno Infinity entirely. So yeah, moving on to the spells, we got Triple Fossil Dig, which is another Rhoda card for us. Like we can add any level 6 or lower dinosaur monster from our deck to the hand. So literally, like we run 6 Rhodas in total, because we also have the Oviraptor. We got Triple Fossil, or not Fossil, Double Evolution Pill. I'm sorry. Amazing card. You banish 1 dinosaur and 1 non-dinosaur monster from your hand or your graveyard. Special summon 1 level 7 or higher dinosaur monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So this also brings out Doggeron as well. But yeah, like you got plenty of non-dinosaurs, mainly your hand traps, and also some of our other monsters like the Kaijus, which we can use for Double Evolution Pill. We also run Triple Lost World, of course. Very standard, just to weaken your opponent's monsters by 500 attack and defense points as long as they're not dinosaurs. And also, if you summon a normal or special summon a dinosaur, you could give them a Jurek token, which they can only target that token, and they can't target any other monsters on the field while they possess a token. And what's also neat about the token is that if you would use Oviraptor's effect, for example, you try to pop it, you can save the token using Lost World's effect, pop a baby from your hand or your deck, just to trigger off baby and get a free summon. So like you generally want to let your opponent keep the token, but at times you also want to get rid of it too. So just know how to properly use that effect. Alright, I decided to bump this down to just 2 now, terraforming, because 3 was starting to clunk me up way too much. So 2 terraforming now. I don't run it at 3 anymore. 1 Foolish Burial just to get Quatless into the graveyard faster. Of course, you also got 1 Monster Reborn still. And the same 2 board wipes that we had originally, Dark Hole and Kaiju Slumber. You know, just to trigger off Baby's effect if he's on the field. But now for the last 3 cards, we decided to go and run it just to help us out even better. Just that way, you know, like we have, so technically in this deck we now have 5 board wipes, and that last board wipe is Torrential Tribute. Badass card because this card is not once per turn. It destroys all monsters on the field as long as a monster is summoned. It doesn't matter who summons it, as long as it's summoned. So it's another way to set up, like when you're going first. Like there were times I opened up with only a baby, but 2 of these, it worked perfectly because I played Lost World, I set my baby, I set both Torrential Tributes just to be safe. And when my opponent activated Aqua Dolphin, I immediately Torrential Tribute, triggered Baby's effect, got my Soul Eating Oviraptor, and kept the momentum going. And then yeah, he kind of got stuck at that point. He was still able to get a good play going, but as soon as but I waited long enough till he got the Firewall Dragon out, Torrential Tribute again, and it really dished out a lot of pain. So yeah, Torrential Tribute, I definitely recommend it. It's still, the fact that it's at 3, I think it's a great board wipe to add with Lost World Dinosaurs. Alright, so for the extra deck, we got Firewall Dragon, which is a good Ghost Reaper target right now because Goukis really set off a lot. If I had a Sold, I'd definitely run it, but I don't have one yet, so I'm still trying to find someone who's willing to trade me one. But when I do, I definitely recommend putting a Sold in your extra deck. That way you can destroy Goukis entirely, because that Assault's going to start setting things off if they can manage to get it out. We got Decode Talker, still pretty good. Another good Reaper target, which you could also use yourself, is Trigate Wizard, because Trigate Wizard is a bit of a pain. So like because the fact that it negates while it's co-linked, and Goukis really set off with this monster. I still see plenty of Spiral players, so Double Helix is still a good Reaper target as well. And of course, the last of our Reaper targets is Kagari. So like Kagari is definitely one you want to kill Trickstars with, because you know Kagari really sets things off once they start using Engage and then Hornet Drones. So yeah, you gotta get rid of it. We got one Underclock Taker, and of course Proxy Dragon, and that's pretty much it for the Link monsters, of course. As for the Xyz monsters, we got Double Lagia. He's basically Solemn Judgment, and negates any spells and traps as well. One Doko, which is Solemn Strike, because he negates monster effects. Utopia, and of course Utopia the Lightning. Baguska, and Abyss Dweller, which also hurts Goukis pretty well too, because like it keeps them from using their graveyard effects. And finally, the one Trishula. And again, Jurek Alo is still in the side deck, but I only play Trishula when it's actually needed, you know. But moving on to the side, we now run 2 Ghost Ogre, and of course, as I mentioned, Alo. I mean, come on, you can't resist Alo, right? For the spells, we got 2 Called by the Grave, and 2 Twin Twisters. Amazing cards still, so like Twin Twisters still comes in handy whenever it's needed. Same thing with Called by the Grave. And Called by the Grave, like when you're going first, you definitely want to run it for sure, because like it just, yeah, it's just like when going first, like you can always expect your opponent to have hand traps. Double Mind Crush. I bumped my Ceasefire down to 2 now, so I don't run it at 3 anymore. But it's still a really good tech card for Ultimate Conductor Tornado, so definitely Ceasefire if you want to try it out. Definitely try it out. 2 Storming Mirror Force, since I used to run Quaking back beforehand, before Lynx, but Storming's now the better one right now, so it definitely works against the Gouki Nightmare board as well. And 2 Survival's End. Well, that's pretty much it for the emergency update I had for you guys, so hopefully you guys really enjoyed this one a lot more than the previous deck profile. And I will catch you guys again next time.